afternoon. Welcome to the pre-conference under Section 51 of RA 12009, otherwise known as the New Government Procurement Act and its implementing rules and regulation, to be conducted by the members of the BAC and DPWH for the infrastructure project under contract ID number 26F00083, Organizational Outcome 1, Ensure Safe and Reliable National Road System, Network Development Program, Construction of Flyovers, Interchanges, Underpasses, Long-Span Bridges to Daraga, Albay, Diversion Road, Malabog Flyover, 0 plus 338.52 to 0 plus 450.75, 0 plus 630.76 to 0 plus 710.50, Barangay Malabog, Albay, Malabog, Daraga, Albay, 2nd Legislative District. This activity is being attended by the following, starting with myself as the BAC chairperson, Attorney Nina M. Daraga, also the Chief of the Right of Acquisition Legal Division. On my right is Dr. Maria Chudora Pilo Santas, BAC Vice Chairperson, also the Chief of the Administrative Division. Engineer Arnel L. Samson, BAC Divisional Member, Chief of the Maintenance Division. Engineer L.B.M. Nasario, BAC LTWG, also the Assistant Chief of the Construction Division, and Engineer Raymond Pacifico as the BAC Assistant LTWG, also the Assistant Chief of the Maintenance Division. Before we proceed, please be informed that this activity cannot be conducted by the official YouTube account of the procuring entity because the same had been subjected to restrictions by the YouTube platform, rendering it unable to continue our live streaming coverage. So, the BAC adopted to video record the same and upload it in the available official communication platforms of the procuring entity after the activity, subject to technical capability. So, to continue, may I call on Engineer Maria to present to us the eligibility requirements as well as the technical and financial components of the procurement project at hand.
Good afternoon po. For eligibility requirements, eligibility of prospective bidders is determined using the Civil Works application, which electronically processes the compliance with the Class A documents, such as the legal, technical, and financial documents. Prospective bidders are encouraged to regularly update their respective records in Civil 8 on the following requirements. For Class A documents, legal documents. Number 1, registration certificate from SEC for corporate organizations, DPI for sole proprietorship, or CPA for cooperatives. Number 2, mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zone surveillance. The PhilJets registration shall be submitted in the technical document component of the bid to be considered eligible. The renewed mayor's or business permit shall also be submitted as a post-qualification requirement in accordance with Section 63.2 of the IRR of RA 12009. The same shall apply to the other Class A eligibility documents. Number 3, tax clearance for EO 398 series of 2005 as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, number 4, statement of the prospective bidder of all its completed and ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract delivery. Number 5, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bids, except under conditions provided for in Section 52.4.2.4 of the IRR of RA 12009. All of the above statements 4 and 5 shall include all information required in the BBE's prescribed eligibility. 52.4.2.4, the bidder must have a completed an SOCC that is similar to the procurement project to be bid, and whose value adjusted to current prices using the BSA consumer price index. Must be at least 50% requirement may be allowed, subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the GPTV for consideration. Provided further that contractors under small A and small B categories without similar experience in the procurement project to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable range of contract cost of their registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the contract. Moreover, a contract shall be considered similar to the procurement project if it has the same major categories of work. The procuring entity may clarify in the meeting documents what is regarded as major categories of work, guided by the principle of proportionality and fit for purpose approach. For the entire DPWH, determination of major categories of work are defined in Department Order 164 Series of 2025. 52.4.2.5. The SLCC shall be supported by a owner certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in CPES, or a similar performance in monitoring system. In the case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. For 52.4.2.6, the computation of a bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC to be bid calculated as follows. NFCC equals current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the procurement project delivery, provided that a different formula may be adopted subject to the recommendation of the procuring entity, which shall be submitted to the GPT for consideration. The value of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest AFS submitted to the BIR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective certificates of registration in accordance with Section 20.2.9.1 of this IRR. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitutes compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all its ongoing finance. Number 6, valid Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board license or special pickup license in case of joint ventures, and registrations for the type and cost for the contract delivery. For financial documents, number 7, the prospective bidder's audited financial statements showing, among others, the prospective bidder's total and current assets and liabilities, stock received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. Number 8, the prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity. The computation of a bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC to the bid calculated as follows. NFCC equals current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the project under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract delivery. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest AFS submitted to the BS. For Class B documents, joint venture bidders shall submit a JDA in accordance with RA 4566 in its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective loads of certificates of registration in accordance with Section 20.2.9.1 of the IRR of RA 12009. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitute compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all its ongoing contracts and audited financial statements. Other technical requirements: if a joint venture agreement with securities applicable to secured declaration, ISO 9000 certification or its latest version is applicable, duly signed organizational chart, duly signed list of key personnel for the contract for supporting affidavits of commitment to work at the contract with the key personnel and DUND series of 2016, revised guidelines on the accreditation of contractors for consultants, materials engineers. The minimum work experience requirements for the key personnel are the following. For the proposed position, project manager, total similar related years of experience is 5 years. Similar position, 5 years. Project engineer, total similar related years of experience, 3 years. Similar position, 3 years. Materials engineer, total similar related, 3 years. Similar position, 3 years. Foreman, 2 years. Similar position, 2 years. Construction safety officer, others. Other technical requirements: duly signed list of contractors, major construction and laboratory equipment pledged to the contract. Please refer to DO 11 series of 2017 for the minimum materials testing equipment and Section 63.3B of RA 12009 in relation to Item 16.5 of the Philippine Beauty Document, May 2025 edition. Certification as to the availability of equipment under lease agreement or under purchase agreement must be notarized. Omnibus Form Statement. The minimum major equipment requirements for contract ID number 26F00083 are the following. Bentonite bin required is 1. Bentonite mixer required is 1. Cargo truck or service truck, all models. Capacity is 9 to 10 metric tons to 70 HP required is 1. Concrete batch plant 30 cubic meter with updated calibration certificate required is 1. Dolly required is 1. Drilling rig, all models. 300 HP required is 1. Drop hammer required is 1. Dump truck, all models. Capacity is 10 cubic meter to 90 HP required is 1. Dynamic pile testing includes professional fee and structural engineer required is 1. Low bed trailer 25 metric tons required is 1. Truck tractor required is 1. Payloader 1.5 cubic meter or 1.95 cubic yard required is 1. File integrity testing and accessories includes professional fee for structural engineering reports required is 1. Service crane or crawler crane, all models 21 to 25 metric tons 145 HP required is 1. SPT and assembly machine required is 1. Support equipment genset under OCN required is 1. Support equipment automatic level under OCN with updated calibration certificate required is 1. Support equipment total station under OCN with updated calibration certificate required is 1. Support equipment power lines 2 by 400 watts under OCN 5 HP required is 2. Transit mixer, all models 5 to 6 cubic yard 175 HP required is 2. Trunny pipe set required is 1. Truck mounted crane, standard lattice, all models 41 to 45 metric tons to 46 HP required is 1. Vibro hammer, all models 120 kilonewton per meter 222 HP required is 1. Water pump 100 millimeter suction diameter 1800 LPM 7.5 HP required is 1. Water truck or pump, all mix 16,000 liters 360 HP required is 1. Other financial requirements. Duly signed bid form. All pages must have a signature box and the standard format of the bid form. Duly signed bill of quantities including summary and bid prices. Duly signed their initial legal estimates. Further instructions and clarifications on the submission of technical and financial documents. Bidders are required to include ISO 9001:15 certification or its latest version of applicable. As part of the project requirements in the beauty documents for infrastructure projects through Department Requirement Number 110 Series of 2024, implementation of ISO 9001:15 certification requirement for large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. For those who wish to use bid security declaration as bid security, use the new format for Department Memorandum Circular 85 Series of 2020 uploaded to process and DPWH website. Similarly, use the uploaded new Omnibus Workstation format. Prospective bidders are required to use the appropriate and correct format of the Omnibus Work Statement pertaining to the authority of a signatory according to the business organization, for example, single proprietorship, corporate, cooperative, or joint venture. Failure to do so would be treated as a misdeclaration by the prospective bidder and would be a ground for the non-compliance of the bid. Prospective bidders are reminded of the provision that equipment capacity is specified in the bid data sheet shall be mandatory in absence of the same shall disqualify the contract. All requirements stated in the bid data sheet are mandatory, hence in the same manner that the items of work and the corresponding quantities involved are fixed and mandatory in the bill of quantities, the type of equipment, their respective capacities and number of units required are also mandatory in the list of equipment pledged for the contract. Failure of the prospective bid to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment in a specific location, whether owned, leased, or under purchase agreement shall result in the bidder's automatic post-disqualification and forfeiture of the bid security. The DPWH shall conduct inspection of the pledged equipment as to their availability and efficiency. Equipment pledged for one awarded project shall not be pledged to another project bid out on the same date or immediate date after the bidding of the awarded project. Equipment pledge on several projects bid out on the same date wherein the bidder is potentially the winner of these projects will be granted for the bidder's post disqualification in the other projects. Review documents to be submitted to avoid eligibility and non-compliance of bid. Check the validity of permits, licenses, registrations, and clearances. Check the completeness as to form and substance of the bid security, affidavits, declarations, and other notarized documents. Use the new bid form for infrastructure DPWH Book number 16/2020 and circularized in the DPWH Review 85 Series of 2020. All entries required in the bill of quantities such as those for the unit price in words and figures and the total price for the item for both lump sum and non-lump sum items of work should be properly filled in. Lump sum costs in the bill of quantities must be supported with a detailed cost estimate showing the direct and indirect costs including tax. Provision of overhead, contingencies, and miscellaneous for special items under the general requirements and facilities for the engineer shall not be exempted. Discounts offered in handwritten text in the bid form should be signed or initialed with the authorized managing officer who is authorized to sign the bid documents. Otherwise, the discount will not be exempted. Erasures, interlineation, overwriting, and alterations in any document should likewise be signed, initialed with the authorized managing officer. Brief explanations of the criteria for eligibility screening, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and post-qualification. Process and criteria for eligibility processing shall be in accordance with Section 62.1 and 62.2 of the IRR of Article 009 on the contract profile based in 0164 Series of 2025. Revised guidelines for the determination of major and similar categories of work. Electronic eligibility processing for the civil works application shall be conducted simultaneous or ahead of the opening of the technical documents depending on the consistency of the network certificate of the CWA. Preliminary examination of bids shall be conducted in accordance with Section 59 of the IRR of Article 009. Bids that fail to include any requirement from the checklist or are complete or patently sufficient shall be considered as failed. Brief explanations on the criteria for eligibility screening, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and post-qualification. Detailed evaluation of bids shall be in accordance with Section 61 of the IRR of Article 009. Bids shall be checked as to completeness, arithmetical corrections should be performed on computational errors, and omissions shall be corrected to enable proper comparison on equal footing of eligible bids. Post-qualification shall be conducted in accordance with Rule 10. Post-qualification of the IRR of Article 009. Verification, validation, and assertment of all statements made and documents submitted by the bidder with the lowest calculated bid, using non-discretionary criteria as stated in the bidding documents covering the legal, technical, and financial requirements. Provisions of the IRR of Article 009 and the DPWH Procurement Manual 2, the infrastructure shall govern the procurement. Instructions on the purchase of bidding documents. Only the owner of the firm or the authorized representatives named the CRC shall be allowed to transact business relative to bidding matters and purchase bidding documents for D176, Series of 1993, and as reiterated in D187, Series of 2001. Those representatives not included in the CRC are required to submit special power of attorney or secretary certificate for Travis applicable. The authorized representatives issued with SPAs or secretary certificate should be required to present two valid government IDs and a printed copy of the document request list, and the fields posting and the contractor bid showing the name of their construction firm. The back secretariat will not be responsible for the failure by the bidder to pay the bidding document in time, for the bid dropping due to late arrival, delayed processing of the order of payment, or collection order and late payment of the bidding documents. Loss of the order of payment and supporting documents already released or issued by the back secretariat is not a responsibility of the back secretariat. Only the signatory may cancel or revise the duly signed tendering authority to purchase bid documents. Bidding documents, statements made for cancelled projects due to no funds approved or released, and for disapproved modification and for late release projects that have already exceeded the 3-month period for awarding are are non-refundable as a matter of policy of the DPWH Regional Office 5. All prospective bidders shall attach to the technical component of the bidding documents are the following: straight line diagram in accordance with the templates prescribed under Annexes A-3 and D-5 to A and D-5A to B of DO number 246 series of 2024. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information being received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. Instructions for submission of documents bids. Follow the checklist of the technical and financial document requirements uploaded in the bidding documents for the contract of the bid. Absence of any required document shall be considered as failure of compliance on the required document and non-compliance of the bid. Chronologically arrange the documents in accordance with the checklist for the technical and financial documents. Provide index tab and pagination and security by the documents. Affix initial in all the pages of the documents. The initials of the pages together with the pagination affirm the authenticity of the pages that they are indeed part of submitted bid documents. Submit duly signed original and non-machine copy of the bid documents. Machine copies of the documents must be from the original. Place the original technical document in an envelope and security seal. Put a marking on the envelope containing the following text: original technical document, the name of the taxpayer person, name and address of the procuring entity, the contract ID, and the name of the project, and indicate the not open before 10 a.m. on August 18, 2026. Do the same for the original financial documents and put both the original technical and financial envelopes into one outer envelope. Label the outer envelope as original bid, including the outer text for the marking. Do the same above procedures for the copy by marking the envelope as copy 1 for the technical and financial envelopes as well as the outer envelope. Put the envelopes labeled original bid and copy 1 in one mother envelope and put the marking containing the text, name of the taxpayer person, name and address of the procuring entity, contract ID, and the name of the project, and indicate the not open before 10 a.m. of August 18, 2026. As per the memorandum dated May 28, 2026, with the subject strengthening disclosure of ongoing and awarded projects and verification of net financial contracting capacity in DPWH procurement. In the interest of ensuring transparency, accuracy, and strict compliance with procurement laws and regulations, this memorandum is hereby issued to reiterate and strengthen existing policies on the disclosure of ongoing and awarded projects and the verification of the net financial contracting capacity of bidders in the DPWH procurement. Pursuant to RA number 12009, its implementing rules and regulations and relevant DPWH issuances, all concerned offices are hereby directed to strictly observe the following. Number 1, disclosure during pre-bid conferences. All bids and awards committees shall expressly remind prospective bidders during pre-bid conferences of their obligations to fully and truthfully disclose all ongoing and awarded but not yet started contracts, including DPWH, other government and private contracts, by submitting the duly accomplished statement. The box shall also remind that failure to submit and declare any ongoing awarded but not yet started contract constitute a ground for disqualification and imposition of appropriate sanctions. Number 2, strengthen NFCC verification during post-qualification. BACS shall ensure that NFCC verification during post-qualification is diligently undertaken using a complete set of information, including but not limited to tender leads. The bidder's statement of ongoing and awarded contracts but not yet started, submitted latest AFS and NFCC computation. Official DPWH records reflected in the Civil Works application, project and contract management application, and other relevant department databases. And letter C, result of verification with other government agencies and private entities. The verification shall not rely solely on the submitted NFCC computation of the bidder or a single database, but shall consider all available and updated records to ensure accurate determination of the bidder's financial capacity. Number 3, imposition of sanctions. Where verification establishes material misrepresentation, false statements, or non-disclosure of ongoing or awarded but not yet started contracts that affect eligibility or violate the bidding documents, BACs shall impose the appropriate sanctions under RA number 12009 and its IRR, including post disqualification and or suspension or blacklisting. Other important matters: prospective bidders are encouraged to conduct site inspection for them to determine whether this is the right project for them. Decisions on the BAC amending any provision of the bidding documents shall be issued in writing through a supplemental or bid bulletin at least 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. Minutes of the pre-bid conference will be posted in the BAC bulletin board, and prospective bidders are encouraged to read the minutes. Prospective bidders are also encouraged to regularly visit the postings and affiliates and DPWH websites to keep themselves abreast of the supplemental and bid bulletins that may be issued by the BAC. Prospective bidders are also encouraged to purchase bidding documents ahead of the shopping schedule. Prospective bidders' key personnel shall submit copies of their valid and updated PRC licenses and or accreditation, whichever is applicable. The possible causes of failure of bidding are: number 1, no bids are received. All prospective bidders are declared ineligible. All bids fail to comply with all bid documents or fail to post qualification, or the bidder with the lowest calculated response of the bid refuses without justifiable cause to accept the award of contract, and no award is made in accordance with Section 40 of the Act and its item.
Thank you, Marian. So, any additional from the UC or from the implementing office? Okay, there being before we conclude, I recognize the presence of Engineer Alex Lacuna, Provisional Member Chief of the Construction Division. This will review other matters to address this bidding conference survey. Thank you.